Let's talk about how many people think that it is fucking crazy to end friendships over politics. But before I dive into that, I'm going to go family of origin with this and dive into the reality that many people are actually unaware that they were raised in a survival based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn. What does that mean about their friendships, their relationships? Well, if they haven't done the work to heal the dynamic of survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, the likelihood that their friendships, their relationships are entirely based around that dynamic is very high. It's very likely. What does that mean? It means that their friendships, their relationships are likely unhealthy. Anything, any relationship, any friendship, it doesn't matter what type it is, that is based around survival based dynamics from childhood of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, it's just unhealthy. It's unhealthy. That's the way that it works. So, now let's look at the political stance of things. Uh, the way that things are going in terms of politics is nothing short of a fucking shit show. Um, you can be friends with whoever the fuck you want to. You have free human agency. That is entirely your choice. You can also, for whatever fucking reason, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter what it is. You can also choose to not be friends with whoever the fuck you don't want to be friends with. That's the reality of that. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter if you woke up one day and you had this like wild fucking realization of, wow, I've been living in childhood survival as an adult with fight, flight, freeze, fawn for fucking 3 or 4 decades. I'm now realizing that it was entirely based around people pleasing. It was entirely based around me not knowing my own authentic self because in childhood my boundaries were fucking obliterated. I was violated, and I learned that that's just the way that relationships are. That's just the way that friendships are. Yeah, it's gonna take a second to wake up from that one, Karen. I utilize Karen, of course, as the stereotype, but at the same time, the very reality that many people out there are Karens and they believe that they can tell you how the fuck to live your life. It's also, just it's like so much of society, the people, the killjoys of the cultural structure. It's fucked up and it's sad and it's unfortunate, but here we are anyway, listening to people tell you that it's fucking crazy to end friendships and relationships over politics. Is it actually? Is it actually? I mean, again, quite honestly, going back to the very base of this all, it is entirely whoever's listening to this, whoever's watching this, it is entirely your choice who you choose to be friends with. Like, I'm not even going to say what you should or shouldn't do. I'm here to help you understand that you have free human agency to choose whatever it is that you choose. And anybody that is trying to influence you in one direction or the other, I would quite honestly argue is a fucking walking red flag. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is above you. Nobody gets to tell you who you should and shouldn't be friends with. What I will say is that there are a lot of severely fucked up dynamics happening right now. And that's the reality of it. Do you see the red flags? That's my question. Who you choose to or who you choose not to be friends with is your choice. Do you see your free human agency? Even though a lot of the dynamics right now are even throwing that into question and fucking that up. Do you understand that there's nobody above you? There's also nobody below you. Everyone is equal. That pisses a lot of people off. I understand that, and I'm totally fine with that. It's not my place to fucking emotionally caretake anybody. You are responsible for your beliefs. Are you aware of that? And simultaneously, you might be holding a psychotic belief system that entirely fucks your life up and simultaneously fucks other people's lives up because you affect them with your actions if you so choose to be in a relationship with them. It's not just the conversation, the argument that it's crazy to end relationships or friendships over politics that has me intrigued. It's more so the question: were you raised in a survival-based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn? If you've discovered that part, cool. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of what that means? Are you aware that that pretty much means that if you haven't done anything to heal that dynamic, the likelihood that you are attracted to relationships that consist of that dynamic is very high. If you learn that it's literally your role in this life to be a fucking people pleaser, you're going to be attracted to people that present a survival based relationship for you of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, people pleasing. Like, quite honestly, all politics aside, all of the fucking, well, no, actually, let's look at it for what it is. The neurotic shame and guilt. How dare you think that you can just fucking unfriend somebody for political shit? Uh, no, not how fucking dare them. They have free human agency. They can do whatever the fuck they want to, period, end of story. They can. If you wake up one day and you're like, all right, I'm tired of fucking people pleasing. I'm now aware that I've been people pleasing for fucking 4 or 5 decades. I don't want to do this shit anymore. Holy shit, all of my friends consist of that dynamic. Damn. All right, well, let's let go of that. Let's let go of the people pleasing. You are no longer going to fit into that puzzle piece the same way that you previously did. That's the reality of it. When you heal parts of yourself that were attracted to other people in unhealthy, fucked up ways, you're not going to be interested in participating in those unhealthy, fucked up ways, obviously. Like, imagine if your role was literally being a fucking smearboard for somebody's jokes or their projections and everything, and you only did it because you thought that doing it meant that, I don't know, you were validated, you were approved of, you were accepted, you were loved. It's severely fucking broken, but see it for what it is. Do you want to continue to be the fucking joke, the you know the laugh of everyone? You can do what you want to. You have free human agency. So seeing the neurotic shame and guilt for what it is, I can't believe that people are ending relationships over politics. It's fucking crazy. Um, One, even before that, are you aware, if this is the case for you, that you were raised in a survival-based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Because shit, if you are unaware of that, and it is the case for you, the likelihood that your relationships are actually unhealthy and you might not even be aware of it is really fucking high. And that's sad. It's sad. I think that the healthiest thing for people to do is, one, become aware of whatever dynamic is in their relationships if they're not already. Because if you're in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn in all of your relationships and you're unaware of it, I mean, fuck, like, that's just sad. It's really unfortunate because your relationships are highly likely to be unhealthy. That's the reality of it. You're allowed to end relationships with people whenever the fuck you want to. That's your choice. That's your choice. And if you're ending relationships that are unhealthy, I applaud you because that's a healthy decision. Aside from the fact that, I mean, I would at least call it fact, that when you look at all of the dynamics that are happening right now, that are unfolding, yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. So if you didn't previously know that somebody that you've been in a relationship with or a friendship with, maybe you haven't talked to them in a while and you reach out to them and you're like, "Hey, what's your stance on XYZ?" And then they tell you and you're like, "Fuck." Yeah, you're allowed to be like, "All right, listen, I didn't know this and I don't like that." You're allowed to not like it. You don't have to be fucking neurotically shamed and guilted out of disliking something that you dislike. You don't. You don't. You might be used to people violating the fuck out of your boundaries. You might be used to people violating you. You know? Like, you're allowed to let go of whoever you want to. You don't have to have any reason, you know? I don't care how long you've known them for. Oh, but we've known each other since like childhood. It's been like 4 decades, all right? And simultaneously with that, if you were raised in a survival based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and say, for instance, you learn to be a fucking people pleaser, maybe you learn that it's your responsibility to watch over them. If that's the case, that's really sad because your boundaries have been and are continuing to be violated. This conversation goes beyond just the political stance of things. I mean, I want you to go family of origin with this shit. I want you to go, what was my childhood like? I want you to go, was I raised in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and simultaneously unaware of it? Do you understand what that means? Do you understand the opposite of survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Do you understand a healthy childhood? Healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation. An actual developed healthy ego state is drastically different from being raised in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and just being mind fucked with all of this neurotic shame and guilt. It is so different. It is your choice who you choose to be friends with. Understanding why you're choosing to be friends with them is very important. If you've discovered that after decades you actually don't like them because now you're aware of the survival based childhood with fight, flight, freeze, fawn that you were born and raised into, and now you're looking at it and you're like, that's not healthy. Yeah, no, it's not healthy. I don't really like the dynamic now that I see it for what it is. Cool. You don't have to like the dynamics now that you don't see it, now that you see it for what it is when previously you were confused. I think it's time to let go of this friendship. You are allowed to. And not because I say that you are allowed to, but because you have free human agency. That in and of itself is boundaried. Understanding that for what it is very important. It's not just a matter of letting go or ending friendships and relationships because of political reasons. Like, are you aware of the dynamic of your relationships? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Why are you friends with them? Why do you choose to associate with them? These things are very important to ask yourself because, yeah, there are a lot of unhealthy dynamics happening right now. We see it. We see it. If you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not surprised that people are ending relationships. And not just because of that stuff, but also because, like, oh wow, you just spent decades of your life. I'll end off with this. Oh wow, you just spent decades of your life in survival with fight, flight, freeze, fawn while simultaneously being unaware of it. And now you're starting to see everything for what it is. Holy fucking shit, I've had all these people in my life that have been using me. I've been a fucking narcissistic extension of these people. Ugh. Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Cool. Yeah. I hope Karen understands that. You know? Be friends with whoever you choose to be friends with. Don't be friends with whoever you don't choose to be friends with. Know the why. Understand the root, the foundation. Was it survival based? Was it healthy? Knowing the why is very important here. You You have free human agency. Are you aware of that?